What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and today we're going to continue our discussion of the Mammoth Strength Challenge V Pro-Am, and our athlete spotlight today is about Marcus Crowder. Ciao, homie! Welcome to My Block's Strongest Man, where we bring attention to the world of strongman and show you how you can mimic those activities using everyday objects all around your own property. If you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing and remember to hit that bell button for all notifications so you'll know whenever I provide all the valuable content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So without further ado, on to today's topic. So, let's check out what the events are again at the Mammoth Strength Challenge so we can discuss what we think Marcus Crowder is going to do. First of all, we have that overhead medley with the log, axle, Mauser block, and Viking press. First three of those events being for 1 rep maxes and the Viking press ending in a 400-pound AMRAP, as many reps as possible, all on a 60-second time limit. We then move over to the deadlift medley, which is freaking awesome. I've never heard of a deadlift medley before at a strongman event, but 60 seconds also there. Traditional deadlift, 9-inch for 800 pounds, 1 rep max. 18-inch axle lift for 900 pounds, and then a car deadlift and SUV, to be specific, for as many reps as possible in the remainder of the 60 seconds. Then we have the farmer / frame carry, 375-pound farmers per hand, 50 feet out, returning back 50 feet with an 800-pound frame. Then we have the carry medley of all kinds of stones, anything you can think of, from natural stones to Mauser blocks, Husafelt, and Atlas stones of various weights, all in the 335 to 400 pound range. 75 seconds there to complete that medley. And then we end up with the arm over arm, 18,000 pound truck pull. So, how do we think Marcus Crowder is preparing for these particular events? Well, let's go over to his Instagram, my best resource to see the latest on these athletes and how they are preparing. And we'll scroll down a bit. So we see his latest post is 7 hours ago. So we do have some kind of late breaking information from Marcus. This one is a log press, but off a rack. So not off the ground, but it is a lot of weight. 424 pounds is a lot of weight. A lot of overhead pressing power. So if we scroll a bit through, we have bench pressing here, which doesn't apply to this particular contest. Again, pressing, this is 460 axle press, again, off a rack, which won't be the way it's done at the contest, but a lot of, 460 pounds is a lot of weight. Then moving on, here we have farmers, which does translate directly to the Mammoth Strength Challenge. He's doing 300-pound runs per hand, and then he's going to do some squats as well, which again is not happening at the contest. So decent speed there with 300-pound farmers. Here we do see a log off the ground, and what you'll notice here is it's a 320-pound log, and Marcus is now the second person of the 4 that I've reviewed so far who is practicing an actual medley, meaning do the lift and run over to the next lift and then run over to the next lift and actually practice it in the manner that it will happen at the actual contest. So not everybody's doing that, at least not yet. There are a couple of weeks left before the contest happens, but you see he's doing log into axle press into Viking press. So his log was 320, his axle was 320. Viking, he says, has no clue, but as you'll see, I kind of tried to visualize it and wrote it down in my wonderful spreadsheet that we'll take a look at in a moment. But point being, I want to make the point that he's practicing, as you can see, an actual medley, not individual events, which are still great practice and prep, but may not necessarily translate over into having to do things one after another like you will have to do at the contest. Moving on, here's your Mauser block lift. So again, very contest-specific training that Marcus Crowder has been doing, which is pretty impressive. So he's doing a 250-pound block here, which is less weight than he'll have to accomplish at the contest, but he's doing it for 5 reps, whereas at Mammoth Strength Challenge, it'll be a 1 rep max, and he looks like he's handling this fairly easily. And then, of course, he mentions here he's going to be doing a 305-pound axle. So if we move on there, here's his axle.
And I think he does reps with this one as well, so let's see. And of course, axle presses, most guys use an over-under grip, at least to get it up to the belly. And yeah, no problem pressing that. And then he's going to move over and go right into the block. So again, at least partial medleys here. It's 2, not 4 different exercises, but he is practicing, you know, the different exercises of the medleys that he will encounter. So definitely contest-specific prep here going on with Marcus Crowder. Let's go on and see what else we see. And as you see, I'm going back and back. I'm only at 3 weeks back now. So he's doing a lot of really current practice for what he will encounter on January 23rd at Mammoth Strength Challenge. So here, these are, it looks like an axle deadlift. That looks like a thicker bar than normal, 648 for 5. And that's a 12-inch, he says. And then he's doing some farmers as well. So if we move on, here's some more log pressing off a tire. This is 330 pounds, but again, for 6 reps, not 1. So I think that gives us a pretty good idea of all of the prep that Marcus Crowder has been doing and how contest-specific it seems to be, especially the idea that he's doing medley practice. So if we go over to the event-by-event breakdown that I have for you, again, I've redacted everybody that I haven't covered yet to kind of reveal for you little by little my prediction, which will culminate in a prediction video at the end of all this analysis. But so far, we've talked about Gabriel Pena, Trey Mitchell, Bobby Thompson, and today, Marcus Crowder. So, as I've mentioned here, is he doing overhead medley prep or practice? Yes, he is. We saw him doing 2 different variations, in fact. And so for log press, the heaviest I found him doing on log press was 398, actually, and that was for 4 reps. Picking it up off a tire, not necessarily off the ground, which is a little bit of a helper, but 398 is also substantially more than the 350 that he'll be expected to lift at the contest, and he's also doing it for 4, which means 398 isn't even his max. So I think he's fine. He's good to go there, no problem. Axle press, I saw him doing 325 for 5. Again, the contest will require 350, but 325 for 5 I think easily translates into a 350-pound max. And then Mauser block will be a 300-pound block. He was only doing 250, but he was doing it for 5 reps, so I think that's probably barely enough to say he can max 300. It's maybe pushing it, but I think he could do it. And then Viking press, again, he's one of the only 2 guys I've seen actually practicing Viking press. Bobby Thompson practiced it with pretty lightweight. It looked like, I don't know, maybe 90 or 135, something like that. And then Marcus, from what I could tell, those red plates, I think, are the 25 kilos, so 55 pounds, and I think there were 2 of them. So I tried to multiply it out. It looked like 290 to me. And so putting those things together, since I don't have data on anybody else, I think Marcus will be the best in the Viking press, number 1. I think as far as the Mauser block, he's 6th best from everybody that I've shown you so far and the ones I have not shown you. For the axle press, I think he's 4th best from what the prep looks like. And for the overhead log, I think he's also 4th best. So that gives him kind of an average of 3.8, and we'll translate that over into the placings in a moment. Going over into the deadlift, I haven't seen him do traditional deadlift, but we did see him do axle. I have him doing 840 for 3, so I think that makes him 6th best, and I don't have any evidence of anybody pulling cars or SUVs, so I have to kind of go with the evidence I have. So since I have him 6th best on axle, that's what I did for the traditional deadlift and car pull, saying he'd be about the same there, which may or may not be the case. The grips are different, obviously, but you got to go with the evidence you have. Then going into the farmer's frame. 385-pound farmers is what I saw him do. The contest requires 375, so I think that makes him 3rd best of all the gentlemen that I've analyzed so far. And I didn't see him do a frame, but I'll assume he's just as good there, 3rd best, so an average of 3. Carry medley, all I saw him do was Atlas stones, and he was actually walking with stones, which I haven't seen anybody else do, and that is part of the medley at the contest, taking each of the 4 different kinds of stones, one of which being an Atlas stone, and walking 50 feet with it. So he's the only one I've seen walking, so far anyway. And he did it for 40 feet, not 50, but again, like I said, no one else is doing it, so I'm going to give him first place, the best in the carry medley. And with lack of evidence in the other kinds of stones, I'll have to assume he's first best there as well. So number 1 in the carry medley for Marcus Crowder. Truck pull, I have him 7 there. So again, like, nobody I've seen except for, so far, Trey Mitchell and one gentleman who we haven't seen yet are arm over arm pull in anything. So I have to kind of extrapolate from the deadlift, which is not very precise, but we do what we can do. So, taking all that information into consideration, where do I think Marcus Crowder will place? Well, let's go back over to my prediction worksheet. And one quick correction. So, David Waters, the wonderful host of Mammoth Strength Challenge, reached out to me just to help me tweak my scoring a bit. And the way the scoring will actually happen is first place, since there are only 8 competitors, the scoring will not be the way that I previously had it, which is kind of the last place person not having 1 point. It is 1 point. So first place is 8 points, not 10. And so if you look at my key here, that's how the points scoring will actually happen per event. So I've adjusted everything to account for that. So first place is 8 points, second place is 7, third place is 6, fourth place is 5 points, fifth place is 4 points, sixth place is 3 points, 7th place is 2 points, and 8th place is, in fact, 1 point, not 3 the way I had it before. So just a little quick adjustment there. I've adjusted everybody, the guys I've shown you and those I haven't, to reflect that. So where do I think Marcus Crowder is going to place? Well, I think he'll be 6th in the overhead medley, 3rd in the deadlift medley, 6th in the farmers and frame carry, 8th in the stone carry medley, and 2nd in arm over arm truck pull, putting him at overall 25 points, meaning 3rd place for Marcus Crowder, who makes the podium. So far, we have Bobby Thompson and Marcus Crowder on the podium, Gabriel Pena and Trey Mitchell missing it. Of course, if I see additional prep from them between now and then, I may adjust and change that, but that's your running prediction for today. Marcus Crowder makes the podium with an overall 3rd place at the Mammoth Strength Challenge V. Thanks again for joining me at My Block Strongest Man. I always appreciate you coming by. Check out my buddy at Hunger Smash Fitness as well. He's an actual strongman who I go to for actual advice when I want to know how actual strongmen react to these actual exercises. So we'll see you again next time. I appreciate you dropping by, and of course, until then, ciao, homie. So if you like this video and want to learn more about any of the products I described during this video, make sure to check out the links in the description below. So if you like this video and haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing using that button right there. And also stay tuned for some other videos that you might love blooping up right there. This one is the one that YouTube thinks that you will like the best, and this one is the one that I think you will like the best. As always, share this with everyone, and until next time, ciao, homie.